fans my age. I grew up listening to the Brown album. I actually went through 3 copies because I wore out the grooves playing it so much. Did the same with a couple VHS copies of the movie. I caught the legendary Ted Neely, Carl Anderson tour. Gary Sharon in Boston, which was really cool. It was really stripped down, and Jesus wore black. What?
So I've been a part of now 3 productions of Jesus Christ Superstar. The first probably 8 years ago as Judas, with James Turner as Jesus.
He played Judas and I played Jesus. We both fell in love with the score and binged on far too many YouTube videos of various people performing different songs all throughout the show. Our favorite, of course, being Drew Sarich, because he's a god.
There was the regretful Broadway revival. More recently, Tim Minchin tearing it up. But at any rate, the Brown album was the template, because the score has never really improved on that. It was a little bit funkier. It certainly had rougher edges. I spent an inordinate amount of time sort of trying to learn by ear a lot of the bass parts that Alan Spenner played on the original, because they were just amazing.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
I also spent a lot of time trying to get some of those late 60s guitar tones, because I wanted the album to sort of sound rough around the edges like the original. I mean, granted, I was only recording in my music room at home, so a certain amount of imperfection was going to be there regardless. Besides which, I'm not Joe Cocker's band. I'm rudimentary at best, but I also have managed some pretty slick recordings with this setup here in the past, so the roughness was definitely deliberate on this one.
It's screamy, but it doesn't need to sound pretty screamy. So it's not like Judas and Jesus where they have to actually sound nice. So I can scream it and still sound gross and spit and be red-faced.
You're deep in trouble, friend. Someone Christ, King of the Jews.
The Last Supper, where he and Jesus get to really have words, battle back and forth, yelling at each other and screaming at each other, and that's one of the peak emotional parts of the show for Judas.
Cut out the dramatics, you know very well who. Why don't you go do it? You want me to do it?
But unlike a couple of previous tributes to the Brown album, I wanted to include some of the stuff that was added or changed in later iterations, so the records got Then We Are Decided.
He's just another scripture-thumping hack from Galilee. The difference is they call him a king. The difference frightens me. What about the Romans?
Could We Start Again? The extra verse in Hosanna, the new lyrics in The Temple from the Lyceum, the 96 production. I was incredibly lucky to get some just great voices on here. I had played guitar in a pit band for a JCS production about a year ago in the greater Boston area. And that served as sort of a great recruiting opportunity. So my singers for Judas, Mary, Caiaphas, were ported over from that. And then the gentleman who sang Jesus there sang Herod for me here.
Jesus, you just won't believe the hits you've made around here. You're all we talk about, the wonder of the year. Oh, what a pity if it's all a lie.
We also got several ensemble members and some of the featured roles came from that production. And the other half came from past Striving Artist productions. So it's a good collection of singers, I think. Some really, really great voices on there. I mean, hell, the weakest of the bunch is probably me.
Bullshit be a house of prayer, but you have made it
One of the great pleasures of working on this album was recording and playing with Nate Gonzalo on drums. He's just phenomenal. Emma Hookway on flute, who was great as always. Jesse Hookway on trumpet, which really adds some power to the key moments in the score. Abby Dixon on violin. And then me on guitar, bass, keys, and production.
It's exciting to work with these people that I've loved and worked with for so long, and to be able to have this kind of dream project and be able to support you guys, finding my little niche within what I know will be a great recording.
It's going to be awesome. You'll enjoy it a lot. Buy it. Buy the album right now.
I mean, this is an incredible cast of people, an incredible producer sitting behind the table who's working his butt off to do all this work, and it's going to sound incredible.
It was a labor of love. It took me about 1.5 years all told, and I feel good about it. I think fans of the show and fans of the original album will enjoy it, or at least I hope they will.